Hi there, this is Business with Dave. In this video, I'll be giving you 5 business basics must-knows, and I think these are just little things that if you could just jot them down and do your own research into, these are kind of like the fundamentals that if you can get it nailed down, have an idea, work on it, you'll be better prepared for if you do eventually start up a business and think about all these logistical stuff as well. But before I jump into this video, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to the channel. You guys are all awesome, and if you haven't already, do subscribe at the end of this video. It'll be much appreciated. But yeah, let's jump straight into this video. So firstly is market research. There's no way you could start a business without doing your research, without doing your Google searches, looking online, and just maybe reading books and listening to podcasts. This is where you spend the most time, I reckon, deciding on an idea and doing the research necessary to see that if there is demand for it, potential for it, if there's so many competitors at the moment, or if you have a USP that you can kind of utilize and maximize the unique selling point. But you need to do the research, because without the research you won't really have much to base your idea on, and in order to convince other people and see that there's an opportunity and idea. If there's so many different businesses doing the same thing, you'll be able to tell in your market research that you should probably stay far away from that business, or that there's just way too many fishes in a pond. So with that, with the research, you'll be able to see, okay, there's opportunities here, there's not many people doing it. If you can look at a particular company that is doing something you kind of want to be doing, you can look at their strengths and weaknesses, and maybe you can work on what their weaknesses are. Maybe you could specialize in that weakness that they've not covered, and then you can create a business from that. That's a good way in order to utilize your research and deciding which idea you want to be doing, because ultimately if you don't do your research, you have literally no idea if it will work. And if no one's already done it, why has nobody done it? There should be question marks already there. It's very rarely that it's a new idea that no one has ever done before in the whole world, so that should be question marks of concern. But you should be able to tell from the research whether it's a good idea or not. So do your research first, super important. Spend as long as you want on it, because ultimately it will take more than days, more than weeks, and potentially months as well to get enough evidence, and gives you enough confidence that it can work. I think ultimately it should give you confidence, and yeah, it will give you the confidence to push on for it. The second thing is to do up a business plan. You don't necessarily have to have a business plan, but doing a business plan is just one of the things that everyone would tell you to do, and it just lays out your thoughts, your ideas, your research again, and just stuff that you want to be doing. I think it's easier to have a plan than to not have a plan. When you're just going on a fly, it becomes quite difficult, because then you're like, I'll do this, I'll do that, and oh, maybe I should do this and do that, and then you become doing too much at the same time. You don't really have a framework, you don't really have a structure, and just like knowing what the finances, the operations, the products and pricing, having all this in a business plan and just writing what your mission and core values are, it's just easier to have it all in like a document, or have it on your phone and your notes and stuff like that. Just documenting what you want to be doing, what the business is there for, what you potentially make as well, your potential forecasts. It just lays out for, in case anybody needs to see it, in case you need to show it to anybody, you can show, here is my business plan, this is what I want to be doing, and here it is. When you've done your research and you've done your business plan, at least people can see that, okay, this person has put a lot of thought into it, they've done their due diligence, their research, and okay, I am convinced. Or at least you can use it as a sort of framework to, this is what I want to be doing. Okay, I just look back on it, and then you'll be able to work around it and work with it. And if you have a schedule, you have like a timeline, you have a to-do list, all essential stuff, because ultimately there's so much going on when you're starting a business. You're dealing with finance, operations, marketing and stuff like that. You just need it laid out. So having a business plan will help in that sense. So don't neglect the business plan. You don't have to have it, but don't neglect it. You probably should have it, really. So the third thing is financial management and just knowing the money side of the business. I think all the basics will come down to whether you can make a profit, especially if you're making a for-profit business. If you're not making profit, then you're literally a business that makes zero money or losing money, which is not what you want to be doing. So what you want to be doing is you want to make sure you know your cash flows, you need to know your revenues, your ins and outs, your costs. I think the most important thing is you should know your costs. As long as you know your costs and how much you're marking up your pricing for whatever you're selling, whether it's a product or service, at least you'll have that on your side. Because if you are getting your numbers wrong, if your costs are so much higher than what you're selling for, then obviously you're going to be making a loss continuously. You need to make sure you have at least a good buffer, a good markup, so then you can make sure that you are able to make money at the end of the day. And I think that's the end sort of goal. You don't need to worry too much on the bob downs on the cash flows and stuff, or balance sheets or profit and loss. That stuff can come later, but just knowing the bare basics where you know this is how much I'm going to be selling for. So £10 I'm selling for. If I can make it for like £3, I'll be getting £7 profit, which you can divide all your costs from, and hopefully you'll have a net profit. This is what you want to be knowing 100%, because if you can know I am making £5 from every sale profit, then that is great, because at least you know what it is. And obviously you can adjust your figures, where if you could buy more raw ingredients at a bigger, bulkier amount, then you can get it cheaper. That you can benefit from economies of scale, and you can still sell it at a high margin. That's increased profits. These are stuff that you can learn through YouTube, through books, through different podcasts as well. Just Googling it is just very easy, and they'll just show you how to do it. But just the bare basics of just knowing your costs and your sales is already enough to at least give your business a try, and just so you can start making it because you know your costs and start selling it before expanding too much anyways. At least you could test the market because you know your finances as well. The fourth thing is customer service. I think obviously depending if it is a product business or a service, literally customer service is so important, whether it's online or offline. How you interact with your customers, you need to be friendly, polite, you need to be patient, you need to be open-minded, and to be willing to give suggestions and give advice. I think these are some of the key things that you will learn as you progress in business and when you talk to more customers, because ultimately whenever you're a customer to someone, they would have thought all of these stuff out anyway. So do think, how does your customers want to be treated, or how would you want to be treated? Can you do the same for your customers? Because ultimately, if customers are not happy with your product or your service, then they're not going to come back. So you want to be able to make sure your customer service is really good, it's informative, customers feel at ease, they actually trust you as well. Trust is such a big thing that I think people talk about a lot, but I don't think they practice it a lot. Trust is so important, because if you can gain the trust of your customers, then at least they know my money is going to someone hopefully I like, and hopefully the business that is hopefully solving a problem or solving a need of mine. So do pay attention to customer service. For me, I always believe that 50% product or service, or like 50% is the product and the other part is the customer service. So 50-50. If your customers are really happy with your product but you give terrible service, they can kind of understand it if it's a lower price, and then they could deal with it. But if it's both, that it's just good product and the service is so bad, it will just put people off. Same for the products. If the product is bad and the service is really good, it's 50-50. They can go to somewhere else where there's could hopefully be two at the same time, where it's both quite even. That service is good and product is good as well. So do pay attention to the customer side. Is so important. How you communicate to your customers will ensure whether you have repeat business or not. So do pay attention to that. And in case you need to know, repeat business is when you retain customers and they keep buying from you. It's a lot easier for retaining customers because it's cheaper, because you don't need to spend much money on it because they keep coming back anyways. It's a lot harder to find new customers and branch out because it just costs more for marketing in order to branch out. So do pay attention to that. And my last and final point is human resources, which is probably the most dullest department in business, but it's also so important because ultimately if you are by yourself, it's completely fine because you are in control. You have control over your hours and what you need to do. And I think in the beginning, that's completely fine. But when you get to a point where you're making sales, you're doing quite good, and you need extra hands, this is where you need to be able to recruit someone to come help you. And I think a good tip in the beginning as well is to find your friends and family to help you. They are free. They are hopefully, again, they have free time, but again, they are free in general, that you don't need to pay them really. They're just there to help you, hopefully. But with that, they will be able to help you maybe package stuff, to make your products, to deliver stuff, and maybe deliver flyers, just to help you promote as well, which is always a nice thing to be doing. Yes, there'll be conflicts, but hopefully you can control that anyways. But when your business slowly expands and you really do need to recruit someone, you can just recruit someone, train them up, and slowly build out your team. So you can have your different departments, where it's like finance, operations, marketing. It's not essential in the beginning, but as you grow and grow a business, this is the stuff that you'll need to pay attention, because those who you recruit, these are going to be people that will be representing your business. So you want them to be happy to be there. They want to be supportive of your product and your business, and to be pumped whenever they see customers, because hopefully that will engage customers and hopefully they love doing it. And it makes a massive difference if they're happy or not, and you're giving all the good wages, the perks, and all the good stuff, because ultimately how you treat your staff should be how you treat your friends and family. Because if you treat them horribly, then they're just gonna do a not so great job, and that's exactly what you want to avoid. You want them to do a good job, you want them to be sound. And so many people, you go into different shops, they're just, the staff are just not helpful. They're not really smiling. They don't really want to be there. And I think it makes a massive difference to any customers that come in, because if it looks like a little bit of a hostile environment, you can kind of feel it in the air. So it's the same for viewers to do a home business. How you present your products, how you present your packaging and stuff like that, it really shows how much you care by the little simple things, and customers will be able to feel that. They'll be able to know, and you just don't treat your customers like they're just cash cows. It's just, they are human beings as well that are there to support you. So hopefully you can recruit well, and all of that takes time. Managing people is very difficult, 100%. All of that will take experience, but it just takes one or two people. You just want to be understanding, be patient, be willing to teach people, let people make mistakes so they could carry on learning, and there's a progression there. People love to be able to do it themselves anyway, so you don't need to spoon feed them all the time. But ultimately you want a good amount of staff when you need it and when you don't need it. So do understand these 5 basics in business. There's a lot I kind of covered already, which doesn't sound like basics, but it kind of sounds pretty long. But this is the rough ideas that if you can just get your head around, just keep everything simply and just doable as well. So you don't need to think of yourself as a big business. You are literally a small business, or just see it as a side hustle or a kind of project as well. So you don't need to go overboard with investing too much money into it if you don't want to, or listening to other people. Just kind of follow your gut and your instincts and your knowledge, and hopefully that pushes you in the right way. Just look at what other people are doing, and hopefully you can kind of follow in their lead as well. If they've done it really well, why can't you? These are just general adapting mindsets that any budding entrepreneur should be trying to emulate, and it's good to emulate that. It's good to try copy from other people because they've done it already. They've probably done it well, and if they didn't do so well, they probably won't be there anyway, so it's good to kind of reference from. So do take that on board, and these 5 extremely long tips now, which is sorry about that. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, like this video and consider subscribing to the channel. Would love to see the subscribers go up like always, and hopefully you could take upon all of these points and apply it to your new business as well. I've been Business with Dave, and I'll see you next video. Take care.